Hello! So today this is our painting that we're going to do. It says reach for the stars. Again, you don't have to feel like you write anything at the end in case I don't mention it. I just take a Sharpie pen and I'll write what I want to write. That's probably the easiest to otherwise than using like a paintbrush with paints. That way it just prevents it from messing up. But anyway, so here it is again. This one is going to take a little bit of a longer time to paint, so bear with me. This one's probably going to take a lot of patience too, so just wanted to let you guys know that right at the top of the start of our painting. So anyways, here's my painters. Hello, girls. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Normally what I like to do is I like to paint the background first and then add the characters, but since we don't have time to allow the background to dry, I'm going to take you through a little bit different of steps that I don't normally paint with, so just bear with me. I think it's going to work. Okay, let's go. I'm also going to use a larger canvas here, and I'm going to zoom it in. Okay, so for our paints that we're going to use, the colors we're going to use is yellow. We've got a gray. I used a darker blue for the background color for the sky. I have a green for our grass, brown, and then I kind of have this lighter blue turquoise color for our stand here, and then black and white. Another information that I wanted to tell you guys is for canvases, this one's actually a reusable canvas. I'm slowly running out of canvases, and so what I just did is I just used gesso and put it all over just, the white base, or if you have a white paint, let it dry, and then you have a brand new canvas that you can start with, and you can't even tell that there was a whole nother painting underneath the canvas. So here's an example of that my daughter's gonna use. I don't even know if you can tell on here, but yeah, see, it doesn't even have to be perfect. So she's just gonna paint right over that. And then that way you can reuse canvases. All right, let's start. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna use our turquoise color, and we're gonna do the stand. And for that, I'm gonna pick my flat edge brush. And I'm gonna figure out where I want it to be on my canvas. So let me zoom in here for you. Okay, so I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna have it be probably right here, so I'm gonna put a little bit on my brush. What I'm going to do is, I'll bring this even closer here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find my starting point, and it kind of curves up, so I'm just gonna kind of curve it up like that. It doesn't have to be a perfect line. I'll show you, I'll bring it up closer. There you go. Okay, so not a perfect line. Again, this is harder for me to do standing up than it is sitting down. Okay, so on this other side, I'm gonna start at the top this time, but now I'm gonna have it be off to the other side. So that's what we should have so far.
Looks like an A.
Yep, looks like an A. Okay, now for the top, where I want it to kind of, let's see, I'm gonna start it here, and I'm gonna go right over top of that. But the thing is with this, I want the top to be a little bit thicker. So I'm gonna angle it downward. So it's pointed up into the sky there. So make sure with paintings that we're taking our time and we're enjoying the process. All right, so that's what you have so far. Now I'm going to rinse out our brush, and make sure that when you rinse it out that you dry it completely. You don't want any wet brushes. Okay, and now we're gonna use the same, I'm gonna go ahead and just use this same brush, but you guys, if you have a smaller brush, you can use that too. And we're gonna go ahead and do our hedgehog. So we want to do the outline first. I'm gonna get a little bit of brown, and then I'm gonna mix it with my white, just a little bit, because I want that lighter color. Okay, kind of gives it a nice beige color. Okay. And then what we're gonna do is, let me show you the original, and then I'll show you what we're gonna do. I want his nose to kind of come and curve right underneath where that looking glass part is going to be. So that's what I want to keep in mind when I'm doing this. Is I'm going to come, okay, I'm going to start right at that looking glass because I want to start where his eye would be. And I'm going to do this shape. And then I'm going to bring his nose so it's kind of poking up right above it. And we're going to bring it back down. Okay, so we're going to start with his eye, where I want his eye and the top of kind of his head to be there. Go down, curve it up so his nose comes right underneath it. And then we're going to curve it back down. Like that. And then we want to keep that rounded shape to his face. So I'm going to... Okay, so that's his... Keep that rounded shape there. Then we're going to come up. And then from the top, we want to come down. And then we're going to do his ear like right here. Okay, so that's what his face shape should look like. And then once you have that shape, go ahead and just fill it in. Okay. Yep, with that same beige color that you have mixed. Again, you don't want a lot of paint. You want it to be able to dry right away. We don't want globs of paint on our canvases. All right, so his face should be all colored in. When we do that, I'm not even going to rinse my brush. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to dip it into my brown. And we're going to do the back part of his body here. Now, if you think of a hedgehog, he's kind of round and they're cute. And so we want to create that cuteness still in the round. So I'm going to start right here at the top of his head. And I'm just going to have a big round body here. Now when I come, we're not going to fill in this side yet because we still have to draw our little mouse right here. So we're just going to do the shape of his hedgehog right now. And we're going to color that L in too. If this part frustrates you, then just take a break and come back to it. It's going to look good. Okay, so I'm just going to do that much for now, just to have his general shape, and then I'm going to go down here, just right above his, right below his little chin, right there where it's rounded. I'm going to do a little bit, just a line like that, just a little line, just so I know where to stop. And if it helps you, you can go ahead and color that part in. Okay. Okay. And so let's just stop right there, and we're gonna do the shape of the mouse, and then we can come back and then we can fill the rest of him in. So with our mouse though, I want to use gray, so I'm gonna go ahead and rinse out my brush. Okay, dry it off. Now for our mouse, I want to use a little bit of a smaller brush, just because our mouse he's a little guy. And I'll show you the painting first, and we'll go ahead and get started on it. So if we look at our original painting here, this is the part that we had already drawn on our hedgehog and colored up to that part in. So we're gonna start with his ear right there, and then we'll go into his face and then his body, all right? So we're just gonna take this step by step. Okay, I'm gonna get gray on my brush. Now we're gonna start with his ear. And we want the middle of his ear to kind of go right where we ended. Okay, so I'm gonna start at that. That's a good starting point. So I'm gonna kind of do one side of his ear there, and then I'm gonna round it off like that. Okay, so this is a good starting point right there. I just rounded it to one side and then rounded it to the next. But I want this left side of his ear to be a little bit longer than this right side, because this right side, we're gonna go right into his face from here. So from here, let's just do that face right now. We're gonna go straight up, and then it's gonna be rounded at where his nose would be and kind of come off to the edge there. And then we're gonna give him this big old cheek. It's gonna go right down into his body. Okay, so now we're gonna leave that, and we're gonna come work with his other ear now. And get a little bit more paint here. Now this ear is facing downward. So what we want to do, and I'm going to go right over this line right here, which is totally fine because we're going to color him all in. And this ear is going to go further out, and it's kind of more squared. It's not as rounded. And then we're going to give him a big bottom there. Nice big bottom. And then we're going to round it. We're going to just round it and then straight across. Now we're going to come over and we're going to connect this part, which is his belly and his foot. So here's his belly. And then with his feet, we're just going to do lines out. It's just two lines. When we go and do the black later, it'll make more sense. And then when you're done with that, go ahead and just color it all in with the gray. When we add detail to our mice later, they'll come alive more. So we're just going to color him all in. When you look at paintings or drawings, go ahead and just pull out the lines in each of them. That's how I kind of got started in teaching myself how to paint or draw, is just to figure out which lines connected to what and pull out any shapes I could. And then you kind of start to do that with everything you look at. Okay, so notice we haven't done his tail yet, and we're gonna not do his tail because we want to go ahead and pull out our brown again and finish coloring in our hedgehog here. So I'm gonna rinse out this brush because I don't need this brush right now until we come back to working with the mouse. Rinse it out, dry it off, and then I'm going to grab that other brush that I was working with the brown. And I'm going to come back and I'm just going to color him in. It's okay when you get next to that mouse if it's kind of pulling some of that gray. Our paint is still wet, so. And you have to have it come all the way down, and we're going to add black down there at the end here. So come around that mouse's ear there. Again, if with my original, what I had done is I had taken the background and I did all the background color first because I had time to let it dry, and then I went ahead and put these shapes over the background color. But since we don't have time to let it dry right now, I'm just walking you through the shapes, which will work just as well. Okay, so we're going to set that down. And we're gonna let that brown just dry for a second while we go ahead and create the other little mouse up on top. Okay, so I'm gonna rinse that out, dry off my brush. Good. You guys are doing good? Okay, so now we're gonna work with, up top, I'm gonna grab my gray again. And let me show you the original, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're trying to go for here. So we're gonna create his bottom area right there where he's sitting and his tail, and then we'll do his ears and go into his face. If your turquoise or light blue is still really wet, then I would hold off on this part right now and just do it in a little bit. You can go back and hit rewind and learn how to do the mouse again, just because it won't blend as well. But for those of you who it's dries already, then let's go ahead and start it. So we want to get his general shape of him sitting. So I'm gonna okay, so let's do that shape first. See that? So I went down, I gave him a rump, and then went back. It's like a what? Like a bowl. You're better with words than me. Mm-hmm. Okay, so once we have that shape, color him in. Okay, now we're gonna work with his ears. Now his face is pointing up into the sky, so we want his ears to look like they're sitting behind him here. So we're gonna come right outside of where we ended or started his rump here, and we're gonna come out and give him a big rounded ear here. Okay. And then let's go ahead and we're gonna do that same thing on this side. So I'm gonna come over. Yeah. And this one's kind of going to be like an oval shape. And then we're going to go into his face here. Yeah, it looks like a heart. That's right. There you go. You can't see that. We could do a heart shape like this because that's all going to get colored in here. So if that helps you too. Good job, Olive. Okay, then we're going to go into his face, and his nose is pointing up, so we're going to come and build like a triangle here. So it is like a shape of a heart. That's right. See that heart shape? See, I like it. You're already pulling out the shapes. We're going to color him in. Remember, you don't need a lot of paint. It goes a long way, so just stretch it across that canvas to fill in the space. That will help us in the end when we go to put the detail in, to have that paint dry. And again, I think I'm gonna wait on his tail just because I want to get that background color in first, and then we'll lay it on top of his tail. Or lay the tail on top of the color. But we can go down with our gray, and let's put the tail on this little guy. So from his rump, we want it to start thicker and then come way up and then get thinner as it gets up, okay? These will make great gifts for your teachers when you go back to school, all these paintings that you guys are doing, or for grandparents or aunties or friends. I know my girls have given a couple away as gifts and people love it. Okay, so we're gonna set that down for a second. Make sure everybody's caught up. You guys good? All right. Okay, so I'm gonna rinse out that brush. Okay, so now what I wanna do before we start our background color is I want to take the white, and I'm still using that little brush. And I want to go ahead and I want to put the top and the bottom on. Just so when we go to do that background color that we know to not paint there. It won't show up as well because it's white on white, but we'll be able to tell that there's, okay, so for the top here, it's hard to tell because it's white. I'm just doing like an oval shape at the top, okay? Make that rounded. And then at the bottom, and I'll show you on the original here too, I'm gonna do a half circle backwards with a straight line down. And let me show you on the original just because it's kind of hard to see on white. So I just did an oval for the top. And then through his eyeglass here, I did a half circle backwards and then with a line down. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and rinse that one out. Now for the background color, I'm gonna use a thicker brush, or if you have one of these sponges, you can use that. And we're gonna go ahead, first we're gonna do our line of where we want, let me show you on the original, of where we want our grass to start. So we're gonna start out and create that line first, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. I want a really big sky. So I'm gonna start, I'm gonna have it come probably, I want it to be like right there. I'm just gonna do a little of the grass because I want a big sky on mine. So there's where mine is. Mine doesn't have to be straight, but it does have to be all the way across. So I'm just gonna imaginary line through my mouse, through my hedgehog, so I can try and keep that same line all the way across. Okay, once you have that line, then go ahead and fill it in. I'm gonna fill in, I know that that's a lot of sky for me because it's a big painting. So go ahead and just fill it all in. Careful when you go around the work that you've already done. Take your time. A lot of people want to rush through it because they're bored. So if that's the case, then set it down and come back to it. That's not a big deal. We want to make sure, I'm actually going to go around my whole painting here because I want to make sure that I'm taking my time. I'm going to use my brush strokes away from that line so then I am just careful not to getting in my dark blue on my turquoise there. If you have time and you watched it and then you want to go ahead and paint, then I would say that this is the part that you can start with, is the background, then let it dry and then come and add in all of those different characters that you want to. Sometimes it's easier because then you don't have to paint around what you've already painted. Some new paint here. Watch out for that white that you painted on. I need to go ahead and fill my blue back up. You need to use a smaller brush around your painting or around the art you've already done. Feel free to switch up your brushes. I've been loving seeing all of the paintings that kids and parents have all done. It's been really fun. If you find that you have like thick spots of paint, just go over it and thin it out. So that allows our paint to dry a little bit better. This part is what takes the most time. Alright. Getting there. Gotta be really careful around that art. I didn't realize how big my canvas was here. It's taking a lot longer. If you want to, you can add different colors into your sky. Alright, let me bring this up closer to show you guys. Okay, don't get bored, stay with it. Stay with it, but take your time too, especially around those critters. All right. Almost there. All right. It does take longer too when we paint out the other things because then we have to go around everything. That's good to keep in mind too. All right, girls, you doing good?
Yes. Not as close as you are, though. Yeah, I know. I'm not close to done.
Well, we still have detailing and stuff to do. Yep, this is why. So this one takes a little bit more time than the other ones that I've posted. Alright. Make sure to get in between the telescope too. Right. Okay. Go over some. All right, so that's what it should look like. And then I'm gonna go ahead and rinse out my brush. Oh yeah, I would use this for that larger area. Oh, it's just gonna take forever. Okay. Well, I'm waiting for the girls to get caught up with this. I'm just gonna go over, I went a little bit more darker brown in here. And now that it's dry a little bit, I can do that. You don't have to do this part. This, if you don't want that, if you like the color brown you have, then that's totally fine too. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to add some detail into this hedgehog. So, okay. So now next what we're going to do is our green. We use another square brush here. And then for the green, we're just going to cover in all the ground with green. So go ahead and do that. Along that edge there, if you hold the brush upwards, and then just with the light hand go across, it creates a nice little line there. Careful again around our critters here. I want a little bit of green to show underneath them there, so I'm gonna. Maybe do the open areas first and then come when you can spend more time around the art you already have on there. Alright, almost done with the grass. This is the tricky part, coming around here and working around my mouse. Using the tip of my brush upside down, and then that helps me too to have more control over my brush and giving me less areas to paint around those tight areas, like in between the mouse's feet and stuff. And I'll show you in a second when I. Okay. Brush out any thick spots that you have. So that's what our painting is so far. You guys are doing really good. Good job sticking with it. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my my gray, my little brush, and I want to add that tail to my mouse that's sitting up here. And again, I want it to be a thick and then go pointy and kind of swoop off to the side. So I'm going to press down on my brush, and then I'm going to lightly lift my hand. So press down on your brush and then lightly lift your hand to create that thick. Oops, I got some blue on there. Rub it out. Thick and then thin. So light on the heavy with your hand, and then light on your hand. Now for the detail, let's get started on that. For this, I like to use really thin brushes. So here's just a few examples. Some thinner brushes that I like to use. If you have a fine tip one, nope, that's more square. We want it a little bit like the one I just gave you. Olive, do you have a thin one?
No, she doesn't.
Doesn't?
Kind of.
Here.
Not the like ones.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead with this and we're gonna use our black.
What am I gonna do?
Now, we're gonna start and we're gonna give noses to our critters here. So just at the tip there, we're just gonna give a nose. You can press down. I'm gonna give one to our mouse over here. And then this little guy's got a nose too, so let's give him one. Just the tip. Okay, so we gave noses to them. Now what we're going to do is we're going to outline our hedgehog's face. Okay, so we want a really steady hand with this. And let's see if I can do this standing up. We don't want to do around, we're going to do around the ear, so let's start there. And then we want to leave his sides open. Okay, so then we're going to bring up and we're going to do a solid line from here all the way to his nose. Really light hand, using that thin brush. If you don't have a thin brush, you can wait till your painting dries and you can do this all with a Sharpie. That works too. I'll just show you so when you go back over the video, you'll know what to do. Okay, so we just outlined that. Now for the open areas of his face that we didn't outline that meets the brown, we're gonna go ahead and just draw little lines. Just little lines. Little lines. Light hand, little lines. If you press down, you're gonna get really thick lines. And we don't want that. We just want the tip of our brush to be with paint. So it's like we're hardly pressing down. Okay, we're gonna go through there and we're gonna do that whole, all over him. Okay, so it can even come into the blue there. So it looks like little porcupines fur. Just little lines, light hand. If you're gonna do one line at a time, this part will take time. It's gonna want your patience, because if you do it too heavy or in a hurry, it'll just look like a black blob. So, and they can go this way or that way. They're not all in one direction. And little ones, long ones. Okay, we're just gonna keep going. So do that all the way, all over. And I'll show you our original here, so you kind of understand what I'm saying. So see, it's got just little small lines everywhere. Okay, so because this will take me forever just to sit here and do these little lines with you, you get the idea. So I'm gonna stop mine right there, but you're gonna fill yours all in with lines. And then I wanna get some more black, and we're gonna come over here to our mouse on the ground next to him. And I want to give him some, let's outline his ear. So we're gonna start with this bottom ear here. This one right here. And we're gonna outline it, and we want this line to kind of come in. And it's gonna meet his body like that. And then right above it, we're gonna just do a rounded, so we're gonna have a pink spot in there, and that'll show the inside of his ear. And then we're gonna go ahead and do this top one. Okay. And then we're gonna come and it's gonna meet, I have a little line right there, and it's gonna come meet his nose. Get some more black. And then this one, we're gonna start at his nose and come down. And then we're gonna now when we get to this part, we want to give him some little hands here. Okay, so we're gonna do lines like that. Just 3 lines, 1, 2, 3 in a row. Then we're gonna come down and we're gonna finish outlining his belly. And then his belly goes down to that second foot, and then the foot, it comes out. Because his back foot's behind his belly, so we want that line to go around it. But this foot, it'll leave that open, because it's gonna come right into that foot. If that makes sense. Okay, now we're gonna outline his tail. I'm gonna start at the tip and then just kind of bring it down. My paint's still a little bit wet, so it's not gonna hold this color right now. Okay. We're gonna give him an eye and some whiskers now. Let's see, we're gonna put his eye right where that top ear comes down. I'm just gonna plop it in there. And then his whiskers, I'm gonna bring them out. 1, 2, 3. Then we're gonna go back up to our hedgehog, and I forgot to give him his eye, so we're gonna give him a little eye right there. Now he can see. Again, if this is too hard to do outlining with the black on a paintbrush, feel free to let your painting dry, go back, watch the video, and then do it with a Sharpie. Dry, not draw. Thank you. Let your painting dry and go back and use a Sharpie. But for now, I'm just gonna show you what to do with the black paint. Okay, so I'm gonna outline this whole thing. Careful not to go over the mouse, because we want to keep the shape of the mouse there. So I'm just doing the lines that are exposed for the telescope. Yeah. Okay. Then I'm going to do 2 little lines right here. See that? I'm going to come down. I'm going to do that A shape right here. Do this A shape over here. Remember, this is your guys' art, so if you want to add designs in there, if you want to do different colors, feel free. These are just what I picked out. I'm just coming along the outside now of the telescope and outlining it. It's really hard to do standing up, so I apologize. Okay, now we're gonna go and we're gonna outline this mouse up here. And he's got 2 little eyes, so we'll just start with his little eyes up there. And they're kind of like oval shapes because they're looking up. And we're gonna outline him. Let's do his little. I was doing good. Now with these ears though, we're gonna come in past that body to kind of give them the definition of ears. Then we're going to do another line on the inside here. Same thing with over here. And then we're going to come in and outline his tail here. Remember, it goes thicker and then it gets thinner. Okay. And then we're going to give him some whiskers too. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now for his, he's got, he's catching a star up there. So we're going to go ahead and do the line. I'm going to start it from this ear and kind of I'm going to do swoopy and then just right there. You can do yours if you have more sky, you can have it go up higher. Okay, we're almost done, you guys, doing so good. So now we have to draw in our stars. So with our stars though, we're going to need to do the white first, otherwise our yellow won't show up. So I'm going to go ahead and get my white here. And then you can just do a star like you're taught to do stars. So I'm going to do, because we're going to color it in, so those lines won't be seen. So go ahead and do a star like that and then color it in white. Don't need a lot of white. And it's going to mix with your blue, that's totally fine. Have a little look there. And you want that string to connect. So if it's not connecting, like mine's not connecting right now, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it higher so it connects to it. Okay. And then down here, this little guy's holding a star too, so we want to do that same star just down here and have it be like in his hands, so his hands looks like he's holding it. See that? Okay, so we'll let those dry before we add the yellow into them. And let me put any pink out of it. Real fast, I'm just going to do a dot of pink just on those. I'll share with you girls, so hold on. So with the pink, I'm just going to come and I'm going to share what's on my plate, honey. Olive.
Oh, sorry.
That's really pink, but you can do lighter pink, or I might add some white to it actually. Okay, so I just added a little bit of pink and then white to that pink. So now we want to do our stars. So I'm going to get that thin brush that I had already. I'm going to rinse that off, but I used my black for my outlining. Get it on my white. And then you can do that. I taught you in the last paintings, if you want, get it on a paintbrush, then flick it, you know, hold the bristles back and flick it. Or for this one, I actually ended up just doing these little dots just because they show up a little bit better. So just dots everywhere. You can do clusters of them and spots because stars aren't all evenly spread apart. If you want to do like a shooting star, just press down, make a dot, and then go fling like that. Looks like he's do another one over there. There's a big one. Okay, and you're going to do that all over. The girls, you can hear them. They're flicking their paint onto it, which is fun too. Okay, so I'm not going to spend the whole time showing you all my dots that I'm gonna put on. But that gives you the idea. You're gonna do that all over the background, okay? So for one of our last steps though, before I leave you, is we're gonna go ahead and add our yellow to our stars. And then I'll show you the girls'. We're gonna add our yellow, and then we're gonna outline our stars, and then we're gonna be good. Okay, so I'm gonna start down here. I'm just gonna go right over that white. It's okay if it's not a crispy yellow. Again, we just want to make it look yellow. I'm gonna come up here. The white just allows us to have the yellow show up at all on top of that dark blue color. Okay, Olive, do your yellow and then I can show them yours. If yours needs to dry a little bit more before you add the yellow, that's fine too. Again, this is a rushed one just to show you guys. Obviously when I paint, I take a little bit more time and I really get into it. But I wanted to show you guys a really fun, cute, different drawing. Painting. Right now I'm just outlining the stars. And I'll show you in 1 second. You put the yellow on the stars over the white that you did the stars with. And then you can make that saying. I put reach for the stars. You can find any saying. If you Google sayings on stars, quotes on stars, you'll find some good ones. I went in something little that will just sit right there. I'm gonna outline this star too in his hand down here.
Can I get this?
Mm-hmm. Also, make sure when you guys are done with your paintings, go ahead and find a really good spot and then do your signature. Sign those paintings. You're the artist. All right, so there is a really fast version of what I showed you today. Obviously, on your guys's, you're going to have it be the stars everywhere, what I showed you, and then you're going to go ahead and fill in your hedgehog with all of those lines to add in that really good detail. Also, real fast, what I did that I just noticed on this one is I added a shadow down below. So I just took my black, and I don't have much space down here to do it, but I took a little bit of black and just went all the way around. Anywhere where there was something on the ground. And I gave like a shadow down there. So if you want to do that, you can. If not, you don't have to. Let me show you the original again. Just because the other one I did was super rushed. But take your time if that means like stopping, like I said, and coming back and pressing rewind or play, then do that. And then don't forget to show me your guys' artwork. I want to see it. I love these. Okay, we're gonna see the girls' now. So here's a Ray. Oh, it's so cute. And she did the splatter effect, which turned out really good. Let's do that. Good job, Rhea. Make sure to sign it. Oh, you did, right there. She signed it. So cute. Okay, Olive, let's see yours, honey.
There's a hole. Oh no,
Okay, let's see. Here's Olive's. Oh, so
You
cute.
can't really see the mouth.
That's all right. I love it.
It's so cute.
I like how you're shooting stars.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's Olive's. All right, good job. Okay, I want to see yours at home, so show me. Thank you so much, and I hope that you guys are having fun. If I go too fast, feel free to let me know that. If I go too slow, let me know that too. Yeah, I hope you guys are having fun. I love seeing these, you guys. Art is so fun, so thank you.
Send us pictures. Send us pictures. Bye.